Well, joining me once again, Chris Kofinis, Democratic strategist and former chief of staff for Senator Joe Manchin, and Brian Darling, Republican strategist, former senior communications director and counsel for Senator Rand Paul. All right, Brian, we'll begin with you here. I want to ask you about the Daily Beast headline. We're going to put it up there for our viewers to see. Trump whines, shutdown could make me miss my party. And this article goes on to cite two sources who say that the president was concerned about how the shutdown might keep him from this big celebration he's got at Mar-a-Lago in Florida tonight. Is this bad optics? The president being concerned about a big party for him amid a government shutdown?
Yeah, obviously it is. But it's also bad optics that people keep leaking information out of the White House. I mean, the comment that the president made that's now infamous about Africa and Haiti was a leaked comment and a private conversation. A lot of leaks coming out of the White House. They really need to stop that. But, you know, overall, I mean, you look at this past year, I think President Trump has had an excellent year. I think he got one of his priorities, getting tax reform done, regulatory reform, Neil Gorsuch in the Supreme Court, repealing the individual mandate of Obamacare. I mean, those are pretty big victories, so I think he's had a pretty good year. But yes, stories like that don't help him. Yeah.
There's a new NBC News poll which finds that more than half Americans strongly disapprove of the president, Chris. So to Brian's point, do you think the president has had an excellent year? And looking ahead, how do the optics of the shutdown play into that? This image that the president, he really likes to project himself as a deal maker. He had the opportunity to do that over a cheeseburger lunch in the White House yesterday with Chuck Schumer for 90 minutes. Didn't happen.
Well, in terms of the poll numbers in his first year, I mean, he's going to end. He's ending his presidency with the lowest poll numbers of any president in modern history. And I think that's pretty telling. It is not just, I think, the decisions and the policies he's helped push through, which have proven very divisive, but it is his style and his rhetoric and his tendency to tweet that feeds it. And this constant need, I think, to be almost divisive for no end. And I think this plays right into, this shutdown. Instead of actually, I think, focusing on, what needs to be done in order to come to a compromise, he's whining about some party that he's going to miss. I mean, to the American people, that is just mind-blowing. And I'm not sure that anyone should expect the second or third or fourth year of his presidency to be any different. This is who Donald Trump is. This is who Donald Trump was, and he's not going to change. And I think this is the reason why you're seeing his numbers fall to these historic levels.
Look,
but let's be fair.
But I want to talk about the president's concerns about the midterm election. He's actually put out 4 tweets this morning, but the third one he put out specifically references the 2018 election and the need for more Republicans as a result of that election. The poll that I cited earlier, Brian, found 38% of voters say we're going to send a message of opposition to Trump with the midterm vote. So how difficult does this shutdown make it for Republicans?
Well, it might make it better for Republicans. It depends how this plays out. If we have an extended shutdown, I just don't think that will help Democrats at all. I think people will get tired of this, and they'll want to resolve both the continuing resolution and funding the government and DACA, but they won't want to do them at the same time. I mean, some of the polls indicate that people want to keep the government functioning while these negotiations continue. But you know whose poll numbers are lower than Trump's? Congress. Everybody hates Congress. They hate the members of both parties. They don't like incumbents. So maybe this will be one of those years where incumbents of both parties take a beating and have to go out and find new jobs.
So in terms of how this plays for Democrats, Chris, given that the shutdown coverage certainly dominating headlines so far this weekend, and it's not the accomplishments of this president on this today, exactly 1 year after his inauguration, is that good or bad for Democrats?
Well, I think it plays right into the narrative that this is a dysfunctional president and a Republican Party that cannot find any way to govern. And that feeds, I think, the Democratic base. You're seeing this in these races across this country where there's a significant amount of Democratic energy. You're seeing these national polls that are looking at the 2018 midterms, and you're seeing a 10, 12, 13-point lead. And once you start getting into double digits, you start seeing that there is a significant sign of a Democratic wave. Had this president been different in terms of style as well as substance, maybe the outcome of this political debate over the shutdown could have been different. But he is not a president that has engendered trust or admiration amongst the American people, and that feeds this narrative of who am I going to blame? I'm going to blame the person who went into the White House talking about how he was a master negotiator. And that is clearly not what's happening.
All right, gentlemen, that's a wrap for this hour. Chris Kofinis, Brian Darling, thanks for getting up early with me. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.